There is a confession hiding in the comment section of almost every video from IShowSpeed's African tour. It shows up over and over again, written by different people in different ways, but always saying the same thing. I did not know Africa was like this. Some people admit they thought the whole continent was nothing but mud huts. Those comments are not mean. They are not trying to be rude. They are honest. They are millions of young Americans realizing in real time that the images they grew up with, the ones from movies and news and textbooks, were never the full story. And the person showing them the truth? A 21-year-old kid from Ohio who screams at video games for a living. There is a confession hiding in the comment section of almost every video from IShowSpeed's African tour. It shows up over and over again, written by different people in different ways, but always saying the same thing. I did not know Africa was like this. Some people admit they thought the whole continent was nothing but mud huts. Those comments are not mean. They are not trying to be rude. They are honest. They are millions of young Americans realizing in real time that the images they grew up with, the ones from movies and news and textbooks, were never the full story. And the person showing them the truth? A 21-year-old kid from Ohio who screams at video games for a living. The tour kicks off in Angola, and from the very first moment, it is absolute madness. Picture this. Speed steps off the plane, and within hours he is surrounded by hundreds of kids in the streets of Luanda. They are screaming his name. They are pulling him in to pick up soccer games. He is laughing, running, completely overwhelmed in the best way possible. This is not a scripted meet and greet. This is raw, real, uncontrollable energy. And for the people watching at home, many of whom have never seen an African city before, their jaws drop. They see highways. They see skyscrapers. They see kids with smartphones recording videos just like kids anywhere else. Comments start flooding the chat. Wait, this is Africa? I thought it was all jungles. I did not know cities like this existed. Right there, in the first few days, the old picture in their head starts cracking. Now fast forward to South Africa. This is where things get absolutely bonkers. Speed decides he wants to race a cheetah. Yes, a real cheetah, the fastest land animal on Earth. They bring out this sleek, muscular cat, and Speed gets down in a starting pose. The cheetah looks at him. The handler says, "Go." And before Speed can even move, the cheetah lunges forward and scratches his leg. Just a warning shot. The cat could have taken him down easily, but it just wanted to let him know who is boss. Speed jumps back, yelling, and millions of people lose it laughing. But he does not stop there. Later that same day, he climbs into a cage and drops into the ocean surrounded by great white sharks. Huge, terrifying predators glide past the bars inches from his face. He is screaming, the sharks are circling, and viewers are gripping their phones like they are in the water too. This is not your average vacation. Sometimes the reality of resources in Africa is, well, pretty tough to wrap your head around. There's all this wealth beneath the ground, diamonds, gold, oil, you name it. But the benefits don't always reach the people who live there. For decades, the story has been the same. Resources get pulled out, shipped away, and the local communities are left wondering where all that value actually goes. It's a cycle that's been hard to break, and honestly, it's something that makes a lot of folks frustrated, and, yeah, even angry. But more and more, young people are starting to ask questions and demand answers. They're not letting the old stories slide by anymore. They're pushing for a future where Africa's resources actually benefit Africans. Have you ever seen something that made you completely rethink a place? Because that is what keeps happening over and over again. The tour rolls into Botswana, and Speed visits a diamond mine. Not a small operation. A massive industrial mine where workers pull glittering rocks out of the earth. He holds a raw diamond in his hand, this incredible gem that will eventually end up in jewelry stores halfway across the world. And then he asks a question that stops people cold. Why can't I buy diamonds here? Why do they all get shipped out? It is a simple question from a 21-year-old, but it hits on something huge. The history of resources leaving Africa, while the people who live there see little of the profit. Viewers start thinking, they start asking their own questions, and the chat explodes with people discussing things they never discussed before. Now picture Kenya. If one stop on this tour captures the insanity, this is it. Speed lands in Nairobi, and within hours the city loses its mind. Crowds gather everywhere. Not dozens, not hundreds. Thousands. They chase his car through the streets. They surround hotels. They climb on rooftops just to catch a glimpse. At one point the convoy cannot even move because people are packed so tight. It is chaos. Pure, beautiful, terrifying chaos. And Speed is right in the middle of it, live streaming everything. The numbers are mind-blowing. Over 8 million people watch at the same time, the biggest audience of the entire tour. In 3 days, the Kenya stop generates 93 billion online impressions. Let that number sit in your brain for a second. 93 billion. That is more than 10 times the entire population of the planet. Every scroll, every share, every view adds up to something massive. Why does Kenya explode like this? Well, it's because the people there see themselves in the stream. Speed hops on a matatu, one of those wild, colorful public buses covered in art and just blasting music. He squeezes in with locals, hanging out the window, waving at everyone. He stops at street food stalls and tries things he cannot even pronounce. He dances with strangers. He laughs with kids. None of it feels fake. There are modern cities, young people with dreams, and honestly, a country on the move. Across Africa, history and heritage are woven into everyday life. The stories of the past are not just remembered, they're lived. You see it in the traditions passed down, in the music, the food, and the languages spoken on the street. Every step you take, there's this sense of connection, a reminder that the present is built on generations of resilience and pride. People honor their ancestors, celebrate their roots, and carry forward a legacy that shapes who they are today. Alright, so let's just keep it real for a second. Not everything about this journey was perfect or easy. There were moments of pure chaos, moments when things got a little bit scary, and times when it all felt totally unpredictable. But honestly, that's what made it so powerful. This was real life, unfiltered, with all its ups and downs. And that rawness, that's what made the story matter. Of course, not everything is smooth. In Algeria, fans at a football stadium start throwing bottles, and the stream cuts out abruptly for safety. In Kenya, the crowds get so intense that a member of Speed's team suffers a serious back injury during a stunt. Speed himself looks scared at times, surrounded by too many people, unable to move. But even the rough parts add to the story. They prove this is real. This is not a polished production where everything goes perfectly. This is life happening in real time, unpredictable and unfiltered. As the tour heads toward its end, the final stop is Ghana, and Ghana goes all out. Speed receives an official Ghanaian passport, a symbolic honor usually reserved for members of the African diaspora who connect deeply with the country. He tours Independence Square, a massive monument to freedom. He visits the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum, honoring the man who led Ghana to independence. Crowds line the streets wherever he goes. And at the airport, the welcome is so overwhelming it takes forever just to get through. The singer Akon, who has worked on development projects across Africa, thanks Speed publicly for showing the world what the continent truly is. So think about everything that happened in those 28 days. 20 countries, millions of live viewers, billions of online impressions. A young man from Ohio racing cheetahs, dodging hippos, exploring pyramids, and dancing in the streets. But more than that, millions of people back home seeing Africa for the first time. The Africa that has always been there, waiting for the world to pay attention. Pretty wild, right? If this story hit you the way it hit those viewers watching live, go ahead and smash that like button. Subscribe if you want to catch more deep dives like this one. And seriously, share this video. Send it to someone who needs to see it. Because sometimes the best way to change minds is just to show people something real.